Well, good morning, Discovery. Happy Sunday to you. This week we are continuing in our prayer and fasting for 3 weeks, following up on our Rhythms sermon series that we kicked off 2021 with. And last week we got to pray and fast over our rhythms of relationship with God. And this week specifically we'll get to pray and fast for the rhythms of our relationship with the church and our church community. So there are 2 things this Sunday at the outset of this week that I just wanted to suggest that you lean into and you consider praying for your own heart about and see what the Lord would want to speak to you. The first thing is pray for a heart that understands God's intention for the church. I was thinking about Hebrews 10 and how it talks about spurring one another on towards love and good works. And that word spurring on, it literally means to incite, right? Like to kind of rile up in a sense, but rile up in a positive way towards love and good works. It's a very active term. And so I just wanted to ask you to consider this week, what might God have for you? What might God speak to you of where you need to incite others? Maybe an area of church community where you need to switch from being a passive attender, maybe to an actively engaged in inciting others and spurring others on to love and good works. What would that look like for you personally? What does God want to speak to your heart in that area? Is it keeping His commandments? Is it serving? Is it inviting others? Is it spurring others to continue on in that work that Christ commands us to? But would you pray and would you ask God firstly this week for a heart that understands God's intention for the church and how He desires to use you in that? And then secondly, would you consider praying for the conviction and the wisdom to help others apply that as well? Man, if we did that and we helped others to apply that spurring on to love and good works, we would be a disciple-making church. We would be a church who makes disciples, who spur others on to love and good works. I think so often we look at that Hebrews 10 passage and we understand that it's a command to us, and it is, but it's also a command that's meant to be worked out through us, to spur others on, who spur others on. So would you ask God this week for that desire and also for that steadfastness when people don't immediately catch the heart or catch the vision of what Jesus' heart is for His church, that we would continue to do that and call others and spur others on to make disciples who make disciples who make disciples. And Discovery, I think that as we do that, we are going to abide in Christ by keeping His commandments, and we're going to be that city on a hill. We're going to be that light to the nations that God intends us to be this year. So would you join us in prayer and fasting this week for our church community?